Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the 64th Annual Cleveland Arts Prize Awards Ceremony, proudly presented by our generous sponsor, the Cleveland Museum of Art. My name is Carol Malone, and I had the distinct honor of being recognized as a 2024 Cleveland Arts Prize Verge Fellow, a program that supports emerging artists. I also recently joined the Cleveland Arts Prize Board of Trustees, and it is such a privilege to be part of an incredible organization. On behalf of the Cleveland Arts Prize, we are thrilled to have you with us tonight as we celebrate the remarkable talent and creativity that makes Northeast Ohio's arts community so vibrant. Now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our host for the evening, the esteemed arts and culture reporter from IdeaStream, Mr. Gabir Bhatia.
We're going to get right into it and start with our first presenter. Lillian Curry serves as the 10th president and CEO of the Cleveland Foundation and is a visionary leader committed to fostering creativity and innovation in Northeast Ohio. Under her guidance, the Cleveland Foundation has amplified its support for the arts, uplifting emerging artists to cultivate the next generation of groundbreaking artists who will shape our region's cultural landscape. There isn't a better person to introduce this year's emerging artist than Lillian Curry.
Amber Ford is a Cleveland-based photographer whose work is redefining the narrative and visual storytelling in our community. It is such an incredible honor for me to be chosen to be the one to present Amber with this Arts Prize. I met Amber in 2016 after I walked into her senior photography show exhibition at the Cleveland Institute of Art. She wasn't there, but when I walked in, I was stunned and moved by her powerful senior show titled Insufficient Ink. Both in content and execution, I knew instantly what a special talent she was. Since that moment, I have been honored to call Amber a collaborator and a friend. The Cleveland Foundation has been thrilled to have Amber's work, a powerful series of 6-foot portraits of Huff and Glenville residents, on display in our headquarters as part of the inaugural installation in the Fred and Laura Ruth Bidwell exhibition space. Her work has become a powerful, site-specific reflection of what home means to everyone who enters our building. Amber's photography is deeply rooted in themes of identity, race, and the Black experience, bringing often overlooked stories to the forefront. She masterfully captures the beauty, strength, and humanity of her subjects, telling stories that resonate far beyond the frame. Amber's work has been showcased at the Cleveland Museum of Art, Front International, and other prestigious institutions, highlighting the power of photography both as art and activism. Amber doesn't just document the community, she is part of it. She actively works to create spaces where underrepresented voices can be seen and heard, particularly through her public art projects and additionally in her education initiatives. Tonight's recognition reflects her commitment not just to her craft, but to the people of Cleveland. She is helping redefine what it means to be an artist in this city, and we are all better for it. Amber Ford is an undeniable rising star whose work transcends photography and speaks to the heart of the human experience. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Amber Ford, this year's Emerging Artist Prize winner.
What's next? That was the big question I had to ask myself when I was 17. I knew if I was going to go to school for another 4 years and slightly torture myself and possibly go into debt, I had to do it for something that I loved. That's why I have to start by saying thank you to Hammond and Andrea, my parents, for trusting me when I told them I wanted to go to art school and focus in photography. You might have been concerned, like most parents would be, but you were always supportive and never doubted me for a second, hopefully. I took my first photo class at the age of 14 and never put the camera down since. So thank you to everyone who has been along on this journey with me. It truly takes a village, and I wouldn't be who I am without my family, my teachers, my friends, and the support of this city has and continues to show me. Thank you to the Cleveland Art Prize. I am so honored to have been selected to be the recipient of this award. Thank you for being here to witness this moment, and I can't get off this stage without giving thanks to God for giving me the courage to follow my dreams. I'm so happy to say that this is only the beginning for me.
Jason Hanley is Vice President of Education and Visitor Engagement at the Rock Hall and served as a member of the Academy jury which selects the final 3 discipline prize winners. Here to present the Mid-Career Prize is Mr. Jason Hanley.
Dr. Needham's music has been described by the New York Times as wildly entertaining, stunning, and brilliantly orchestrated. Something that really touched me was his incredible ability to orchestrate the music. His music's been commissioned and performed by orchestras and ensembles across the world, including the Minnesota Orchestra, the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra, the Pittsburgh Symphony, and Alarm Will Sound. His impressive catalog includes chamber music, symphonic works, and concertos, with compositions praised for their originality and depth. He served as the Knight Foundation Composer in Residence with the Akron Symphony and has been honored with countless awards, including the prestigious Barlow Prize, 2 ASCAP Morton Gould Awards, and the Charles Ives Scholarship from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Here in Northeast Ohio, Dr. Needham has played a pivotal role as a composer in residence and professor of composition for Baldwin Wallace Conservatory of Performing Arts, where he nurtures the next generation of musicians and composers. When I asked Clint what he thought the sound of his music was, he thought about it for a minute, and then he said, "It's the sound of me moving about the world, trying to do something well with intention." We can hear that in pieces like Urban Sprawl, where the music takes us into the lives and spaces of uniquely distinct houses in a growing neighborhood. Clint also finds hope in the dark places of life, like his concerto Resolve for brass trio and wind ensemble, that grapples with the tragedy of the school shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, but focuses on the powerful resolve of the student activists like David Hogg following the event. There is also the simultaneously sweet and ominous sounds of When We Forget, a piece that depicts a relationship with a loved one dealing with dementia. So, it is with great pride that we recognize Dr. Clint Needham's extraordinary contributions to the world of music and our very own arts community. Please join me in congratulating Clint Needham as the mid-career recipient of the 2024 Cleveland Arts Prize in Music.
Through the arts, we tell our stories, reflect our experiences, understand our history, and shape the world we live in. The arts aren't a luxury. They are vital to who we are. They enrich our lives, shape our work, sustain our health, and even drive our economy. Here in Cleveland, we are fortunate to be part of a community that not only understands this truth, but also invests in it. And one of the most important investments is in the next generation of artists, young minds in our schools and universities who are just beginning to explore their creative potential. Many of these students may not yet see themselves as artists or believe they have a place in the art world, but it is our collective responsibility to ensure they feel they belong in this vibrant, inclusive creative space. I'm deeply honored to have a dual role as both a practicing artist and an educator, where I work with and encourage young composers in my role at Baldwin Wallace. I'm also the spouse of a music teacher who has worked tirelessly to build and maintain a thriving orchestra program in Fairview Park, not only teaching music and a love for the arts, but also instilling life lessons through the powerful vehicle of music. In my life, I've been incredibly fortunate to have the unwavering support of my parents, Rick and Valeria, who are here from Arkansas. My wife, Hillary, who is also here from Strongsville. Our children, Avery, Rory, and Molly. My friends, my colleagues, many of whom are here tonight, friends and colleagues, paired together, I should say. Collaborators, my alma mater and my employer, all the folks at Baldwin Wallace University, you have all played an essential role in my journey. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
As we gather to celebrate the Cleveland Arts Prize, it's appropriate for us to take a moment to honor 4 esteemed past winners who have recently retired, each leaving an indelible mark in Northeast Ohio's arts community. Marcy Goodman recently stepped down as the executive director of the Cleveland International Film Festival, a position she held for 25 years. Under her leadership, CIF has grown into one of the most highly regarded film festivals in the country. And it was Marcy who was instrumental in growing the festival's audience and fostering a strong sense of community around independent cinema. Marcy received her Cleveland Arts Prize in 2011. We can give Marcy a hand. John Ewing, founder of the Cleveland Cinematheque at the Cleveland Institute of Art, also recently retired. Since 1986, John worked hard to make the Cinematheque a top art house cinema by curating a diverse range of international, classic, and independent films. As a matter of fact, in addition to receiving a Cleveland Arts Prize in 1995, John was honored in 2010 with Francis's Order of the Chevalier of Arts and Letters. John, please stand so we can recognize you. David Shimatakahara is an accomplished dancer and choreographer who founded and served as artistic director of the critically acclaimed contemporary dance company, Groundworks Dance Theater, since 1998. He received a Cleveland Arts Prize in 2000 for his vision and commitment to expanding contemporary dance in our community. Sadly, Groundworks closed its doors this past August, but David's legacy will continue for years ahead. David could not be here this evening, but we still want to thank him for his contributions to our region. Finally, we would like to recognize our 2009 Martha Joseph Prize winner, Charles Fee, the producing artistic director of Great Lakes Theater. Under his leadership since 2002, Great Lakes Theater has flourished as one of Northeast Ohio's premier classical theater companies. Charlie also serves as the artistic director of Idaho and Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festivals, which share productions and resources across the country. Charlie isn't here this evening because he's in Idaho staging one of his final shows, but we thank him for his dedication to his craft.
Now, we're going to bring to the stage Barbara Tannenbaum, who serves as the Cleveland Museum of Art's Curator of Photography, Chair of Prints, Drawings, and Photographs, where she's helped shape the museum's rich photographic collection. Please welcome Barbara Tannenbaum.
Thank you. For almost half a century, Barbara Bosworth has focused her large view camera on nature. She's worked in both black and white and color, made intimately scaled and sometimes monumentally scaled prints. Her images are engaging and inspirational, sometimes subtle, often majestic, and always meditative. They make us appreciate the beauty of this world, yet their purpose goes beyond artfulness and visual pleasure. Their purpose is also to help us, we who spend much of our time indoors, removed from nature, remember that we are part of nature, not separate from it. That is a profound and a critical lesson in our age of climate crisis. Barbara has had a long and distinguished professional career as a photographer and as an educator. Her list of gallery and museum exhibitions and collections is lengthy. She's a professor emeritus of photography at the Massachusetts College of Art and Design and has long lived in rural Massachusetts. Nonetheless, the wellspring of her art lies here in Northeast Ohio. Barbara was born and raised in Cleveland and raised in rural Novelty in Geauga County. She is adamant that, quote, "My childhood home is where all my photographs come from," unquote. Her father enjoyed long walks through the countryside around Novelty, both during the day and at night, and his daughter accompanied him. Those walks engendered Barbara's lifelong passion for nature and for communicating its importance to others through her art. Whether dealing with the aggravations of everyday life or a personal setback or tragedy, a moment's meditation on art that addresses the enormity and magnificence of our natural world can offer a momentary respite and a change of perspective. Barbara Bosworth's art humbly guides us to recognize our place in the universe. We are small, and it is vast. It is a great honor and privilege to introduce you to the Cleveland Arts Prize newest recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award, Barbara Bosworth.
Hello. Barbara, thank you for those kind words. I think she's basically said everything I was going to read, but maybe I'll read it anyway. Thank you for this prestigious award. It means the world to me. For the past 4 decades, I have photographed the American landscape with my large format camera. It all started here in Ohio. I grew up in Novelty along the banks of the Griswold Creek. My childhood was filled with rambling walks in the woods with my English grandfather and stargazing on evening walks with my father. Later, as my sister raised her family in Ohio, I reconnected with the landscape through the eyes of my niece and nephew, Katie and Jeff, as they caught fireflies and picked wild roses and blackberries. The Ohio landscape deeply shaped who I am and inevitably influenced my life in photography. For nearly 4 decades, my father owned and operated Bosworth Hardware, a third-generation family-owned business on Euclid Avenue. He never imagined his daughter becoming an artist, but he supported me when I did. And it changed my life. Thank you to everyone in the audience who supported artists in any way. It is a wonderful way to spend a lifetime. Thank you to everyone at the Cleveland Prize for believing in my work, my assistant Emily for helping me navigate the world, and especially my family who instilled in me a deep love and respect for nature, all within the Ohio landscape. Thank you very much.